So once you make contact with someone who's interested, what is your role? What is your initial role as a recruiter?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important role of a recruiter is to be a support in whatever way that means for that specific clinician. If it's just answering questions for someone who is maybe not quite ready to make a change or is a year or two away from graduation, we can do that. The analogy that I love to use is that as the recruiter, I'm like the GPS and the clinician is the driver. So I'm there to provide information, make all options that are available to you known to you so that you can make
Mhm.
an educated decision about what the best choice is for you, whether that be a local contract, perm job, teletherapy, travel therapy, whatever that might look like for you.
Yeah, and you just listed a lot of different things that I think probably a lot of people are not even aware that are available. The local contracts that you can live, especially if you live in these larger metropolitan areas, there are opportunities where you don't have to actually leave your home. You can stay at home, but you can still be a contractor, correct?
Yeah, I mean, whether that means literally not leaving your home doing teletherapy or, just being somewhere, the local school district in your town, that's
Hmm.
always an option. Absolutely.
Yeah. I know that when I first started, I think that, personally, if I can give any advice to SLPs that are listening that are interested in this, it's to be open and honest, like you said, and ask the questions. Ask those questions. What does it look like? Because my biggest misconception is that I was going to sign with this company and they were going to say, okay, Michelle, you're going here, you're going there, and it's going to be somewhere I didn't really want to go. So that's not how it works, right?
Not at all. Yeah, you're
Right.
absolutely in the driver's seat as the clinician. I
Yeah.
get asked that a lot, especially by people who are unfamiliar with travel or are newer grads.
Hmm.
They do have the fear or the misconception that they're going to get on one call with a recruiter and suddenly be signing their name on a dotted line and being sent to, who knows where. But that's absolutely not the case. It's always something that's going to be taken at your pace and where you want to go.
Yeah, I can definitely say that working with you and even working with my previous recruiter, you definitely are, you were very patient, and you always answer my question. And that's one thing I do have to say for you. And I'm sure that all recruiters are like this, but Jill is like the my first go-to. Like if I've got a question, if I've got a concern, you're the first person that I email, you're the first person that I call, and you're always there. You're always available. So that has been a source of comfort for me because when I made that transition, there are so many things that you have to consider. So you've got your licensing, you've got your credentialing, you've got where am I going to live, housing, how does it all work? So what are some of the most common questions that you get? And I'll be interested to see if they were some of the questions that I had for my recruiter. What are the most common questions that you get from people who are just starting out, who are just exploring this career option?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there are a lot of logistical questions. So things like
Hmm.
W-2 versus 1099, PTO, how does pay work? Especially on a travel contract when you're looking at earning those stipends, that can be a whole,
Hmm.
confusing thing in and of
Yes,
itself.
it
Um,
was. It was very much
yeah,
confusing for me. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. But then once you learn it, then it all kind of works out in the end. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Things like benefits and sick time, all of those logistical things are definitely questions that I get asked early on in the process. And then, like we talked about earlier, how does the contract work? What am I committing to? When do I
Mhm.
commit? What does a contract length look like? I think those are kind of some of the initial hesitations and questions that someone who's curious about this has coming in.
Yeah. And I would encourage anyone listening to this podcast again, just ask the questions. No question is a dumb question. I know that a lot of times when you get on Google and you start searching, you're looking at these really high hourly pay rates, but like you said, some of those contracts are going to be 1099 contracts versus the W-2 contract. So you've got to be very careful when you're doing your research that you're finding out what you're getting yourself into.